And welcome back. It's time to talk to the Democratic Club, and we want to welcome Jeannie Lapowski and Alan Feldman to the program. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
I would imagine there was a lot of excitement all of a sudden a couple weeks ago when, excitement, crazy, like what's going on when the announcement when Joe Biden stepped aside and Kamala became the candidate, now the candidate. Okay, they did the virtual vote, but what was that like as it kind of goes down the ticket into a community like here where you guys are trying to get local excitement about elections and register voters and those kinds of things?
Yeah, well, it was a sea change.
Mm-hmm.
There had been a lot of discussion really since back in October, but and of course in the newspapers, lots of discussions about Joe Biden's age, nothing about Trump's age, but be that as it may. But Biden's age was always the focus, and we discussed that quite a bit among club members and Democrats in general and people in general, and that started building at the beginning of summer. The tension started building of what's going to happen and what should we do and what's the right path and how is this going to work. And then all of a sudden, Biden made his announcement, and it was like, we could just take a deep breath and relax because now we know where we're going to go. We know what we're going to do. And then he immediately announced Kamala as his heir apparent.
Right.
And,
he endorsed her.
And things got better from there. And there was so much excitement, not just among the people in the Democratic Club and the people in Laguna Woods, but all over the country.
Sure. And that's kind of the point I was trying to make. I guess volunteerism. I mean, people get excited about that top of the ticket candidate, but that also kind of translates into grassroots at the local level, where they're going to have more people knocking on doors and more people trying to get out there and register voters.
And that's exactly what we had scheduled. That's what we experienced here. We had scheduled to write some postcards in support of Democratic candidates, congressional candidates in California. And we had scheduled a regular, smallish room to have this event. And there were so many people that showed up to write these postcards that we got 1,000 postcards done in one afternoon.
Wow.
We had people spilling out of the doorways. We were in Clubhouse 2, and you know how they have the patio on both sides of some of the rooms. We had people sitting out on the patio because we just didn't have space inside the room.
Wow.
There was so much enthusiasm. So it was a wonderful thing to see.
Well, let's see how much enthusiasm you might have for your next event, which is coming up, the Big Ice Cream Social.
That's right. It is. Yes. In essence, it's our regular monthly meeting. It takes place the same day as our regular monthly meeting does, which is the third Tuesday.
Right, Tuesday, August 20th at 1:30.
Well, that's the thing. It's in the same place, Clubhouse 2, but that's where it stops being the same as our regular monthly meeting. It's taking place at 1:30 in the afternoon instead of in the evening, and it is, as you said, an ice cream social, which we haven't done before. We will be serving ice cream.
I hope so. Well, you're calling it an ice cream social.
And we are not having any speakers. We're going to instead show a couple of videos, not very long videos. One is a video on Christian nationalism by Robert Reich, who is Bill Clinton's Secretary of Labor, and the other is by Simon Rosenberg, who is the producer of a podcast called Hopium. Not opium, but hopium, and his is about what he believes Democrats need to do to win the election. And after the videos we're going to talk about them, and not just about the videos, talk about what the videos said, but also talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. Now, our members, we've been finding out, we knew it all along, but our members, excuse me, want to talk. They have a lot of ideas. They got things to say. They want to talk, they want to be heard. And this is just a really good opportunity to do this. And we're doing the meeting in the afternoon. One of the reasons is because, like many people in Laguna Woods, many organizations, there are people who have difficulty making an evening meeting.
Right.
And this is an attempt to accommodate that. It's also an attempt, what Gene was talking about, to harness that enthusiasm and kind of get people ready to go. It's going to be all hands on deck.
Yeah. I imagine the expectation is there'll be folks who maybe haven't come to a meeting before or rarely come to a meeting before, and you'll be able to maybe see if you can plug them into some of the things you guys are doing.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And so you also have, you do have some speakers coming up in September, though, right?
Yeah, we
So
have.
you get 2 candidate forums coming up in September.
Right.
And you're going to be talking about those down ticket candidates. I'm sure they don't get as much publicity as the top of the ticket folks.
Right, right, yeah, exactly, because our mandate is the Democratic Club of Laguna Woods, and part of the Democratic Club of Orange County is to focus on the local elections. And so we have 2 groups of people and 2 groups of issues that are happening. The meeting on the 17th of September is going to be local candidates for city council, water district, school district, school boards, things like that. And we'll also talk about the ballot measures. There are quite a few ballot measures that are going to appear on the candidates. So we're going to talk about what those, what's involved with those, and what is endorsed by the county party and by the state party. And then, and also we're going to have a candidate who is not in our district, but Frances Marquez, is running for Board of Supervisors. And so that, of course, affects everybody, even though we can't vote for her. So if we can arrange it, we want to have her come and talk to us about what her plans are. And she's a great candidate. And the other meeting is going to focus on the federal and state level endorsed candidates, including Dave Min, who's running for CD40, Joe Kerr, probably, hopefully, who's running for CD47, then Josh Newman and Dom Jones, who are running for the state legislature.
Alan, yes.
Yeah, I wanted to say, it's so important to local candidates, excuse me, but it's these offices, the water boards and you know, school districts and so forth, people really have a tendency to leave those off the ballot because they don't know anything about them.
They don't pay much attention
They
to
don't pay
them,
much attention, especially a presidential year that obviously soaks up all the energy. But when you come down to it, really, the decisions that these local boards and agencies make, they're what affect our lives day to day. You know, they affect the price of electricity, and they affect the quality of water that comes into our house.
What's going on in the schools,
right?
And how they're being run, and those kinds of things. Now, you know, way back in the day when I was a lot younger, which was a long time ago, you know, not as much emphasis was placed on whether they were a Republican or a Democrat running for those seats, because they're nonpartisan. You don't have a Democrat and Republican butting heads like you do for other elected offices. You just have people who declare they want to run. But has it become more important? Do people want, especially strangely at the school boards, where are they a conservative, or are they liberal? What's going on with those things?
I agree with you, and I also think that it is kind of unfortunate, but. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And the school board's Board of Education in Orange County is, to us, a perfect example of that. People on the Board of Education appear to be much more interested in ideology than they are in education.
Right, and that focus it strangely goes away from the kids and what's going on in the classroom and what's happening in first grades and kindergartens, and how we're progressing the students through the process.
They've also squandered lots of money. During the pandemic, when the schools were closed, they sued to have the schools open. After the schools were open, they sued to have the schools closed. Then when the schools were open with health issues such as, you know, the word escapes me, but distancing, safe distancing, and masks. Yeah. Well, they sued again to have those removed, and then they sued the governor, saying he doesn't have any authority at all over this. They squandered all this money for ideology, not for education.
Right. So those are I think those are the challenges when the down ticket folks that don't get much attention, but when you bring the politics rather than the policy into those things, can be a real challenge. So, Ice Cream Social is coming up. Want to remind folks, Tuesday, August 20th, not the usual time, but at 1:30 over at Clubhouse 2. Jeannie and Alan, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much, Mike. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you guys on. When we come back, we'll be doing a ticket giveaway and a movie preview for Monday. Stay with us.